Hi, I'm Andy Ramirez for the Liberty News Network. We have an update for you on the case of Border Patrol agent Jesus E. Chito Diaz Jr. and his continued fight for freedom and justice. He was prosecuted for doing his job after instigation by the government of Mexico, which is documented. My organization, the Law Enforcement Officers Advocates Council, has launched a campaign seeking a full presidential pardon for Agent Diaz, because this case is an absolute joke. It is a travesty of justice. Now, what we've done is put up a petition for presidential pardon of imprisoned U.S. Border Patrol agent at the advocatescouncil.us website. And the purpose of this is so that the President of the United States, under the Constitution, uses the power that falls to him and issues the pardon of Agent Diaz. This case never should have happened because you have too many issues where star witnesses either conspired and hours later reported what they alleged took place, and then later admitted, many of them did, to perjuring themselves, as well as this doper who was promised, and I quote, he would not be delivered to the mouth of the lion for prosecution. Now this is shameful. He was illegally in the country and trafficking in narcotics, but we're not going to deliver him for prosecution, even though he later admits to perjuring himself, just like a number of other star witnesses. Now it's Mr. Diaz who gets convicted for lying. 5 counts. But his story is the one that's never changed, unlike everyone else's in this case. Additionally, we have some information on this Judge Alia Moses Ledlam. You may recall that it was Judge Alia Moses Ledlam who stated in her refusal of releasing Mr. Diaz on bond that he was a danger to society. Now, during her nomination process, where she was nominated by former President George W. Bush and later confirmed by the Senate, she was supported by a group called the League of United Latin American Citizens, the oldest and largest Hispanic civil rights organization. And they sent a resolution to the Senate supporting and endorsing her nomination. And I quote, whereas Judge Alia Moses Ledlam is bilingual, fluent in Spanish and English, is a product of the border region of which she is now serving, and is the best qualified person to serve in the Del Rio Division. Whereas Judge Alia Moses Ledlam has the education, experience, knowledge, expertise, commitment, and integrity to serve proudly with dignity, fairness, and objectivity, is a person with firm beliefs and strong convictions, and brings those qualities to those around her and leads them into taking part in the shaping of a better judicial system and a better world, emanates the ideals, principles, philosophy of law, and commitment that characterize the Hispanic community and all others who practice American values and principles. There is a crying need for a federal judge in the Del Rio Division because of the heavy caseload and underrepresentation of our people. Not the American people, the Hispanic people, or in this case, we know they're talking about Mexican. Now, what's an absolute travesty about that is that's just more Aslanista groups playing race cards, trying to get somebody in there, and we saw that with Sotomayor, and we've seen that with others. So let's take a look at this. You have a judge who has some very questionable issues here. You have a bunch of things going on here that aren't adding up, things that don't pass the smells test. And for me, I hope you're feeling the same way, because what we need is oversight by Congress. Not just looking at Fast and Furious, because that should be looked at, but we need to look at the bigger picture. I've been asked by a number of Iowans, because Senator Grassley has asked them, what is the tie between the Diaz case and Fast and Furious? Department of Homeland Security, Department of Injustice, 2 successive administrations playing games with the Mexican government, initially under Fox and now under Felipe Calderon. I mean, it's a pattern that is very easy to see if you want to see it. Senator Grassley is looking at Fast and Furious. He needs to look at these prosecutions because it's clear and it's on record. Congress wants to get involved, they can, and I hope they do because it's long overdue. We need to look at Fast and Furious. We need to look at these prosecutions of law enforcement officers while the dopers are protected. We need to look on the role of the United States government and this hostile neighbor, narco-trafficking, narco-terrorist state of Mexico, who is assisting with this invasion of the United States of America. We need to get to the bottom of why this has taken place, because this is wrong. You have agents dying, agents being prosecuted, law enforcement officers going to prison for doing their job, good guys turning into bad guys, and bad guys who are being turned into victims. And that's just garbage. It needs to stop. Make your calls to Congress and start demanding that they do something about this once and for all before it's too late. For the Liberty News Network, I'm Andy Ramirez.